Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is doing great. Hope you're doing fantastic, and your week is off to a good start so far. Make sure you hit like. Make sure you share today's segment with anyone in your network that might benefit from today's topic. But quick shout out to everyone on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook tuning in. So every week, Wednesdays, 11 a.m. Eastern time zone, I'm right here to help you folks out with job search tips, advice, and strategy. So make sure you mark your calendars, folks. Every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern time zone, I'm right here. Today, what I'm going to be speaking about is why rejection is actually a good thing in your job search. Now, look, I'm going to get right into today's topic, but I'll let you know up front. I mean, look, rejection is never going to feel good, all right? In most cases, it's not something all of us entirely always get used to, right? Especially as a job seeker, especially, and I kind of covered this on last week's live stream as well when I was talking about how to deal with disappointment. But rejection, I mean, it stings. It can sting. It can discourage you. You can be so excited about an opportunity, and you get that rejection. No matter how politely they put it, no matter how professional and courteous and great the organization was or the recruiter was, it's still going to get you in some way or fashion, right? But today, what I'm going to speak about with you, my friends, is how to switch, how to make a mental shift and start seeing rejection in an entirely new light, completely new light. Period. Right. So again, make sure you like and share, and let's get right into today's topic. Now, why you need to face rejection as a job seeker, right? Why is rejection actually somewhat of a good thing as you're going about your job search? So, look, the first reason I wanted to talk about is first and foremost is it builds mental and emotional fortitude and resilience, right? And this is something extremely important, not just in your job search, but I would argue it helps you in various other areas of your life as well. But the more you face rejection as a job seeker, the more you face these rejections, these letdowns, when the organization says, yeah, well, we decided to go with another candidate, or we're not going to consider you for this role. The more you face these things, and I know it might not seem like this up front, folks, when you're facing, getting that rejection notice or that rejection letter. The more you face it, the more you experience it, the less it affects you, right? You build that mental fortitude and resilience that actually benefits you the further along your job search you go, right? Because the more you get used to these potential or possible rejections, the less you allow them to bother you, right? Because what's your state of mind that you're like, okay, I'm facing these rejections. There's going to be companies out there. Some of them are gonna not going to see me as a potential fit. Some are not going to, flat out, they're just frankly not going to like you because of your personality or who you are and how you present yourself. I mean, who knows, right? I mean, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of opportunities out there, and it's impossible for us, statistically impossible for us to assume that every single company that we meet with is going to see us as the right fit for their organization, right? So the more you experience this, the more you face these rejections from these organizations that you're interviewing with. No matter how much you like the organization, no matter how much sometimes you meet with the hiring team, it seems like they love you, they really like you, you're still going to be faced with those rejections. And again, like I'm saying, the more you face these, the more you expect them to occur, and the less you're going to be affected by them, right? Mentally as well as emotionally, and all that. So again, it helps you build that mental fortitude and resilience. The more you face the rejections, the more it toughens you, right? The more it toughens you, the more you're willing to push through those rejections and move through in your job search, so you can find yourself the role that you're really looking for, that you deserve. We got a hi from the comments. Hi to whoever that is. Appreciate you tuning in. So that is number one. Rejection, you might not see it this way right now, as you're facing these rejections and all that stuff. But the more rejections you face as a job seeker, the more you're going to build that fortitude, right? Fortitude and resilience that's actually going to benefit you for the remainder of the job search process, and even at interviews for that matter, folks. Right? When you go in for an interview, right? Let's say you're very anxious and nervous. You're worried about getting rejected. The way you present yourself is going to be much more different from someone who's accustomed to the idea that, hey, this might go either way. Maybe they're going to like me, I'm going to move ahead. Maybe they're not going to like me, and I'm going to get rejected. Either way, they're good with that, but they're still present at the interview, and they're giving they're completely present. They're giving their 100%. Like, the attitude is totally different, right? And this understanding that there is a potential or a possibility of rejection, you just come across different, as more confident to the interviewers as well, because Again, you're not as outcome focused. You're not as worried about the outcome, right? So that is number one. It builds that fortitude and resilience that you need as a job seeker. That's actually going to benefit you at your interviews, because again, you're going to come across as not really worrying about the outcome as much. Second thing is, rejection is good because it acts as a filtration process, right? Think of rejection as in a more positive light, in the sense of you're filtering out, you're moving aside, filtering out those opportunities that aren't a good fit. Maybe you might be disappointed at the time at which you're receiving this rejection, but at least now you can move on, right? You can move on to the next opportunity. You can move on and focus on the other interviews you got lined up. It's like a filtration project process, right? I just want to quickly, do because I'm a visual person, so I'm just gonna draw something real quick to you guys, right? It's almost like a filter, right? You know those, in the, those filters, right? We all use, like, that cone funnel like thing. I'm a terrible artist, but here, this is what I'm gonna draw it as. Think of your, like, these are all the opportunities over here, right? Like maybe you've applied to, you know, 20, 30, 40, 50 50 jobs. Not all of them are going to come through, folks, right? There's going to be a whole bunch of rejections over here, and it's only going to filter through to like a handful of interviews and opportunities or offer letters right down here. But all those other rejections, I mean, they help you filter down to those opportunities that are the right match for you, right? Mutually the right match. It's not just a matter of them liking you, right? The hiring team, the organization. It's not just about them liking you. You have to like the organization as well. The opportunity, the organization. You got to see that it's a right fit for your career goals and aspirations. It goes both ways. So the rejections act as a filtration process. Because look, frankly, folks, I mean, do you really want to work for an organization that isn't as excited about you as you are about them? Right? I mean, let me know in the comments, right? I mean, ideally, most of us, we want to work for an organization that is as excited about us as we are about them. So the rejections, the no's, the hey, we don't see you as a fit, we decided to go with another candidate. Okay, fine, good, right? These are all parts of the filtration process. You're filtering through that big funnel of initial, who knows how many jobs you've applied for. You're filtering through to the handful that want to interview you, that want to move you through the second interview, the third interview, the final interview, and who want to put an offer letter in front of you. That's really the end goal we're aiming for. And in order to get to that point, there has to be some form of filtration process. And in this case, from your perspective, it is those rejections. So don't see rejections in a negative light, right? I mean, of course, you're going to feel a certain way about when you get these rejections. And you know what? For frankly, folks, for most of us, it's simply our ego, right? Like it injures our ego a little bit, right? And that happens to me as well. Happens to me all the time, right? When I'm looking for new business, which I'm going to get into a bit later as an example. But we all experience it, right? But I want you to see it as, again, as a filtration process. You're filtering through the opportunities, a whole bunch of opportunities that are not going to be a good mutual fit. Those are going to be the rejections, but it's going to trickle down into those 4 or 5 opportunities that the company wants to interview you. They want to move you to the next step of the process. They want to move you to the final interview, and they want to slap that offer letter on the table as well. So all those rejections contribute to that final end result. So you got to look at it from a big picture perspective, folks, right? So don't see rejections as simply something purely negative. We got Charlotte Rebello in the house. Hey, Charlotte, good to have you here. Thanks so much for tuning in. And yeah, folks, feel free to start. Keep putting your comments in the comments, and any questions you have about rejections, and let me know your experiences about rejections and how you think about rejections at your end as well, right? So keep those comments coming through. Now that is tip number 2. Now the third tip is, again, this is definitely a mental shift you got to make. Is every no, write this down, folks. If you're taking notes, I want you to write this down. Every no gets you closer to the maybes and the yeses. Every no you experience, every rejection you face as part of your job search process, it gets you closer to those organizations that are like, maybe we want to move ahead with you, right? Maybe they're uncertain, maybe they're on the fence, but regardless, at least you're still in the process. As well as those organizations that are 100% yeses. They're like, yes, we met with you, we really like you, we want to move you to the next step of the process, we want to move through with you. So every no gets you closer to those maybes and those yeses, right? There's not much we can do with an organization that says no, we don't see you as a fit. No, we decided to go with another candidate. Whatever. If it's a complete no and that's it, I mean, what else can we do, right? There's nothing else we can do. But those no's, every single one of those no's gets you closer to those yeses and those maybes. Those organizations that 100% they want to move you further along in the process, and those other organizations that are like, they're on the fence, right? But at least if they're on the fence with you, at least we can shift them towards a no or a yes. If we can move them to yes, that's great. Then that's fantastic. Now we can continue with the process with them. If we shift them into the no, then hey, it's a no's a no, right? Well, what can you do about the no? Let's just move on and focus on the yeses. So every single yes, it's like it's pretty much a numbers game, folks, right? It is a numbers game. Every single no gets you closer to yes. Now, let me share a quick example of something I experience every single day as an external recruiter. So I'm an external recruiter, right? I'm a third party recruiter, commission based, agency recruiter. So part of my day, every day, what I do is I cold call on potential customers, right? Because I don't have any roles for to help you folks out with, right? I can't help people with job opportunities if I don't have any job opportunities to recruit on, right? So every day, what I do is I cold call potential companies that might need my assistance in finding potential candidates, which is potentially you folks out there, right? So every single day, I'm cold calling companies. I'm speaking to C-level executives, presidents, directors, vice presidents, managers, team leads, like all potential decision makers who make potential hiring decisions at organizations, right? Now, just today, I'll give you a quick example. And by the way, I experience this every single day, but just a quick example from today. I called this one organization. My first conversation was with the CEO of the company. Called the CEO, introduced myself. I did my pitch. The CEO was straight away. He was like, "Yeah, I'm good, not interested." Click, hung up on me, right? What did I do? I didn't give up because why? Because I know that every no gets me closer to yes, either yeses or maybes. So I call the same company again. I look up the who was it? The president of the company, right? The president of the company. Call the president. President picks up. Introduce myself. Do my pitch. The president was like, "Yeah, I appreciate the call, but we're not actively looking for any assistance right now. We're not actively hiring right now. But thanks for the call." Click, hangs up on me, right? Okay, good. I still keep in mind every no gets me closer to what? The maybes and the yeses. I pick up the call again, call the same company. Now this time I ask, I speak to the was it was either the VP or the director of HR. I think it was the no, actually, sorry, it was the IT manager. I spoke to the IT manager. Call up the IT manager, speak with her. She didn't hang up on me. She was like, "Well, look, I'm not looking to hire right now, but I am projecting to make some hiring. Adding some new members to my team, maybe in a couple of months down the line. So, how about you send me an email, send me more information about yourself, and we can keep in touch. And when I'm looking to hire, blah blah blah, then we can get in touch at that point." So then, of course, I expand on the conversation. I'm like, okay, so who would you be looking to hire for? Blah blah blah, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm prepared for that future touch point when I might be able to potentially acquire her business, right? So that was a maybe, right? Because that's not a current potential, recruitment opportunity for me. This is a future opportunity. So this will fall under the category of maybe. But the point I'm trying to make here with this example, folks, is imagine I gave up at that first no, right, from the CEO. I called the CEO. I mean, it was like a flat out rejection. Just hung up on me. He was like, "Yeah, I'm good." Click, hung up on me. What if I gave up at that point, folks? What if I gave up at the president, right? I spoke to the president. The president was like, "Yeah, not interested, not looking to hire right now. But thanks for your call." Click. What if I gave up there? No, I kept on calling because I know that every single no gets me closer to the yeses or the maybes. And eventually I came across a maybe, right? So I spoke to the IT manager at the same organization where the CEO hung up on me. The president said, not interested, but I still kept calling. And I finally got a hold of an individual at the company, the IT manager, who said, "Yeah, I mean, we're not hiring right now, but look, let's keep in touch because I am looking to hire some specific skill sets, maybe a couple of months down the line." Right? So this is what I mean when I'm saying right now. Obviously, you folks out there, you're not going to be doing cold calling. I'm not saying you got to be doing cold calling like I'm doing. That's part of my daily routine as an external third party agency recruiter. But what I'm saying is, you see the example, right? How every single no will get you and build you momentum into a yes. Now, for you, maybe it's not the no's and the rejections are maybe not going to be in the same organization, but it's a numbers game, folks, right? Every no for every organization you reach, it gets you, and you continue your job search, you continue applying, continue submitting your resume. It's going to get you closer to the maybes and the yeses, right? Because maybe you send your resume to an organization, or maybe a recruiter. Maybe they filled in the position. Okay, let's say they filled in the position, they found someone. Okay, great. But who's to say they won't see you as a potential fit in the near future? Who's to say something else might not come up in the near future? Who's to say, by the way, that whoever they hired, things don't work out? Who's to say? Who's to say that, folks? Right? I mean, let me know. Like, is it realistic for us to assume that, hey, maybe things don't work out with this person, their number one choice, the person they wanted to hire? What if that happens? At least they know you, they're aware of you, and hey, they might reach out to you maybe in a couple of months. They'll be like, hey, look, you interviewed before, we really liked you. Things didn't work out with our number one pick. Would you consider interviewing with us again and moving further along the process with us? What if that happens, folks? Right? So don't just think about immediate results, right? Don't just think about the immediate results. Also think about look at the long-term perspective as well. And yeah, like I'm saying, like I gave with the example and by the way, folks, I guarantee you, folks, like I probably face more rejection in one day than most of you folks will experience in an entire year of your, uh, your career, your profession, or whatever it is. Unless you also work in sales or recruitment, that would be the exception. But in one day, I face more rejections than. So I know a lot about rejection. That's why I'm telling you this. I'm not telling you this to brag about myself. I'm telling you this because I know more about rejection than most people. Okay, so I know that it's a numbers game. I know that every no gets you closer to the maybes and the yeses. So I'm telling you this to tell you, don't give up. You will be faced with the rejections, right, from various companies or companies that really excite you. But I promise you, folks, every no you face, that you're willing to push through and consider other opportunities. Keep job searching, keep putting your resume out there, keep submitting the job application. All of that is going to get you closer to the maybes and the yeses. That's the point I'm trying to make here, right? Now, tip number four. Tip number four is every no establishes possible new relationships, right? That's kind of what I alluded to in the previous point. Because when you face a rejection from a company or from a recruiter or from a hiring manager, uh, yeah, sure, maybe they don't want to consider you for that particular opportunity, but now it turns into a networking opportunity for you, right? So don't, folks, don't let your ego get in the way. Okay, a lot of us, a lot of times, our ego gets in the way. We're like, oh, okay, fine. They don't want to hire me for this position. Fine. I don't like them. I don't need them. I don't like this company anyway. No, don't react in that way, folks. Do not react in that way. If you react that way, if you feel emotionally, discouraged and angry and upset, that's completely fine. That's completely normal. But after you get over that, I want you to think logically and rationally. I want you to now start seeing this as a networking opportunity. And what do I always say about networking opportunities? Networking opportunities need to be nurtured over time. So when a company rejects you, when an organization rejects you, when a hiring team says, yeah, we're not looking to consider you for this opportunity, but appreciate your time, blah, blah, blah. Now this instantly, right there, right on the spot, when you hear that rejection, I want you to remember Dean said, this now becomes a networking opportunity. Okay, so maybe they don't want to consider you for this role, right? They went with someone else, or they said, yeah, we don't see you as the right fit. Fine. But now I want you to make that mental shift. And remember, Dean said, this now becomes a networking opportunity. So now you need to keep in touch with the hiring team or whoever this point of contact was at this company that decided not to move ahead with you. Now you need to make friends with them. Now you need to make a professional networking connection with them. Add them on LinkedIn. Keep in touch with them. Message them every couple of months. Let them know how you're doing in your career, right? Network, folks. Now it's a networking opportunity. Think. We're playing chess here, folks, right? We're playing chess. We're thinking 5, 10, 20, 30 moves ahead. That's the way you folks need to be thinking about this. So all of these rejections, if you've been rejected, so quick exercise here that you folks need to be doing after this live stream is, I need you to make a list of all of the rejections you faced over the past maybe month. Okay, let's go for the last month. Any rejection you faced directly from the hiring manager or even from the recruiter from the company, I need you to take note of all those rejections. And now I need you to keep in mind and circle all those rejections and be like, these are now networking opportunities. Write down on that paper, these are now networking opportunities. Have you added these people onto your LinkedIn network? Have you sent them maybe it's been rejections from a couple of months back? Have you kept in touch? Have you told them that, hey, maybe you're currently working, you're currently employed, you're doing some exciting, interesting projects? Are you keeping them updated about that stuff? Because look, something might capture their attention, folks, and it might not be right now. It might be a couple of months from now, might be a year from now. But the point is, you want them to keep you in top of mind. That's not going to happen. They're not going to remember you just because you were in touch with them when you were job searching and suddenly, or they rejected you and suddenly you disappear. They're not going to remember you. It's up to you to keep in touch, right? This is now a potential professional connection, and that's how you got to treat it. That's how you got to nurture it. So stay in touch, and you got to be proactive about that, right? So yeah, every rejection, treat it now as a potential networking opportunity. That's the point I'm trying to make here, right? We got a comment here. Let's see if we have any comments or all of that. So we get so Tamrat says, how is it possible to get that resilience of getting over the bad feelings of the rejection? Yeah, so like I said initially, Tamrat, one of the best ways, which is not the most comfortable way, is to continuously expose yourself to the discomfort of rejection. Remind yourself that rejection is a part of the game, right? It is a part of the game. You will get faced with rejection. Folks, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of job opportunities out there. Strictly from a numbers standpoint, statistically, it is impossible for each and every one of these hundreds of opportunities to see you as the ideal fit, right? If you apply for 100 jobs, let's say not 100 jobs, let's say you get 100 interviews, it is statistically impossible for every single 100 of those opportunities to see you as their dream candidate. It's not going to happen. So the answer is not to shy away from rejection. The answer is to continuously expose yourself to potential rejections. Then the more you expose yourself to rejection, the more you get used to it. The more you build that mental fortitude and resilience, the more you get accustomed to the possibility of being rejected, right? The more you try to avoid it, the more you're unable to handle rejection. So my advice to you, Tom, is you gotta push through in your job search. Don't give up on your job search. Don't shy away from the rejections. Keep putting yourself out there. Keep exposing yourself to potential rejections. Not only are you going to build that mental fortitude and resilience, but also you learn along the way as well, right? Because when you get rejected, you're going to notice certain patterns and things in terms of feedback you receive when you do receive feedback, where you're going to be able to make adjustments and pivots, right? So that'll help you improve yourself for the remainder of your job search. So it's a win-win for you, right? Yeah, maybe you don't get the opportunity, maybe you don't move to the next step of the process, but you're learning along the way. You're learning, you're pivoting, you're adjusting, and you're building that mental fortitude and resilience. And just as a side note, folks, look, I just want to comment on something, and this is this. Look, for most of us now who are living fairly comfortable lifestyles, like we are as a community, as a society, and this is just my opinion, we are getting very soft if you really think about it. I mean, we have technology at our fingertips. We have so many various comforts that we take for granted, and it's natural that we're unable to face any form of emotional discomfort, I would say. And again, this is just my opinion, right? So my belief is the more you expose yourself, at least to little doses of discomfort every single day, whatever that is. Maybe it's working out at the gym. Maybe it's again facing those rejections in your job search. Maybe it's doing something that makes you a little bit uncomfortable, but you got to do it. And instead of procrastinating, you do it. Like these little things are going to help you get accustomed to moving past emotional discomfort, and that's really all rejection is. It's an emotional response, right? We feel an emotional discomfort about someone rejecting us, right? An organization rejecting us. So the more we get accustomed to it, the more we do it, the more you're going to feel resilient, and the more you're going to build that fortitude, right? That's my opinion about it. Tip number 5 that I wanted to share is reject, and you might not see this right away, folks, but I want to argue for this is something I want to argue for, and that is the more you face rejection, the more you are actually putting yourself in control of your job search, right? Let me repeat that. The more you are exposing yourself to rejection in your job search, the more you're putting yourself in control of your job search results. Why? Because it means you're being proactive. It means you're not shying away. It means you're not retreating. You're not giving up. You're proactively continuing to pursue your job search. You're proactively having conversations with recruiters. You're proactively submitting your job application. You're proactively customizing your resume, submitting it for opportunities. You're proactively going for interviews. You're not giving up. You're not retreating, right? You're going on the offensive. And what does that mean? When you're going on the offensive, you're putting yourself out there. You're continuing your job search process. You're continuing your job search strategy. What does that mean? It means you're being proactive, and it means you are at cause, right? You're not just experiencing the effect of your actions. You're being at cause. You're taking proactive measures to put yourself out there and get yourself in front of the organizations that you want to work for, right? Or at least you want to see if there's a potential opportunity out there. You're proactively putting yourself out there. You're proactively exploring your options. You're not shying away from those rejections. Of course, just like anyone else, you face that discomfort of being rejected, and that's fine. That's okay. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. We're all human beings, folks. Like, right? You're not gonna 100% ever eliminate that feeling of that bad feeling of getting rejected by someone or by some organization. But the fact is, you're putting yourself in control because you are moving past that. You're still putting yourself out there. You're not giving up, and you're still moving forward with your job search until you find an employer. And by the way, this connects with what I said before about the filtration process. You are putting yourself out there. You're experiencing these rejections. You're putting yourself in control until you find those opportunities where there is a mutual fit, right? Because like I said before, folks, it's not just about the employer liking you. You have to like the employer and the opportunity as well. It goes both ways, right? So you're continuously putting yourself out there. You're putting yourself in control of those outcomes, which is finding that near perfect opportunity where there's a mutual interest and mutual fit. They like you like them, and then they see you as a mutual as a fit, and you see them as a fit for your career goals and aspirations. So those are my five tips for today, folks. Hope these tips help. If you have any questions about this, start putting them in the comments. I'm going to get to the comments shortly. So start putting your questions, your thoughts, your perspective, your experiences facing rejection. Feel free to drop them in the comments right now. And any questions you have about rejection or anything job search related, feel free to put those in the comments. And I'm going to start getting into your questions and comments shortly. But just a quick reminder, make sure you hit like and share if you found today's segment helpful. And also mark your calendars, folks. Every Wednesday, I'm right here at 11 a.m. Eastern time zone to help you folks out in your job search. Follow me on all my social channels, by the way. I post on various social channels. The link scrolling down here is my Linktree page. That's where all my social links are. So it's a linktr.ee/DK Tech Recruiter, linktr.ee/DK Tech Recruiter. You can follow me on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. I have my Anchor podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. I'm on there as well. You'll see a whole bunch of information on there. Also on Twitter. I'm not sure if I mentioned Twitter, but I'm on Twitter as well. And also make sure you're on the same page, my Linktree page. There's also a link to my LinkedIn newsletter. So make sure you subscribe. I post a new edition of my newsletter every week on Mondays. And I talk about a job search related topic. And I'm also open to any feedback, right? So any topics you want me to cover in my LinkedIn newsletter, you're most welcome to let me know in the comments as well. And make sure you subscribe to the newsletter as well. And, I've gotten so much great feedback from the newsletter. And I try to share practical tips every single week. And I release the newsletter every week on Monday. So make sure you subscribe for that. And again, the link for that is on my Linktree page, which is scrolling down below over there. Or if not, after the live stream, just go to my LinkedIn profile page, scroll down to the featured section. There should be a link to one of my newsletters. Click on that, and there should be a subscribe link on the article itself, right? So just keep that in mind. And if you're an IT professional, or if you're an organization looking for IT talent anywhere across Canada, make sure you send me an email or message me on LinkedIn with more information about your situation. If you're an IT professional, or if you're an organization looking for IT talent, I'm happy to see if there's any way I can assist you with finding the people that you're looking for and leveraging my huge following on LinkedIn. Feel free to message me on LinkedIn or email me at dean@techrecruiters360.com. So with that being said, feel free to put any questions you have in the comments. If there are no questions, I will end today's stream. Charlotte says true. Yeah, absolutely, Charlotte. So thanks so much for tuning in. Looks like there's no questions, so I'm going to end today's segment. Appreciate everyone who tuned in. If you aren't able to get your questions in on time, no worries, folks. I'm going to be back here live every Wednesday. So tune in next Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern time zone. If there's any particular topics or struggles you're facing in your job search that you want me to cover, definitely put those in the comments as well. I will read the comments afterwards, and I'll do my best to cover any topics you folks suggest in more detail in my live stream. Right. So see you next week, Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern time zone. And remember, folks, rejections are part of the game. Do not shy away from rejections, right? Everything you want lies beyond your comfort zone, right? Everything you want lies beyond your comfort zone, folks. So don't give up. Push through the rejections. It's okay if you feel, the sting of rejection. All of us feel it. But the point is, you got to keep moving through. Keep pushing through. Keep moving through. Keep pushing through with your job search. And you're going to get yourself that ideal opportunity, or at the very least, an opportunity that is close to or near to your idea of the ideal opportunity. Hit like and share. See you next week, folks. Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern time zone. And have a fantastic remainder of the week. Take care, everyone.